Hey guys, HDvee here and welcome to a brand new video. Today we've got some really important information to go over. Loads of new Pokemon events have been announced, but we had a major Nintendo update that went live in the early hours of the morning. We're going to be breaking all of that down, and then as well as that, we have some new potential Generation 10 leaks to cover once again. A lot of things to take a look at today, so if you're excited for the video, drop a like down below, leave a comment, subscribe if you're brand new, and let's get into the video. So, starting things off, the first thing that we're going to be covering is the new set, which is now live in Pokemon TCG Pocket. It is called Celestial Guardians. We've got HDvee here tweeting out saying, HDvee update, Pokemon TCG Pocket has now released the Celestial Guardians set. We're currently compiling all new editions of the update in our TCG Pocket section and cards in our set section. So that is live today, and then as well as that, the Rayquaza drop event is also live. So we've got HDvee here tweeting out saying, HDvee update, the Pokemon TCG Pocket Rayquaza EX drop event is now live, adding new promo cards into the game, and that runs until the 13th of May 2025. The special Rayquaza EX half-year anniversary missions are also live. So a quick synopsis of that is that basically there's like 240 pack hourglasses to get if you do all of the solo missions for Rayquaza's drop event, and then you also do all of the missions in the 6-month anniversary event. You get 240 pack hourglasses, which is basically 20 free packs. So that's very, very good. Of course, we're going to be covering all the Pocket stuff on the HD Pocket channel. It'll be in the description down below. Make sure to check that out. We'll probably be live at some point over the next couple of days going over all the new cards and all that. But anyway, that's the Pokemon TCG Pocket stuff. Next up, we have the new Pokemon Scarlet and Violet events that went live today. Again, really weird that they're going live midweek, but it is what it is. We've got HDvee here tweeting out saying, HDvee update, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Strike Gold Mass Outbreak event is now live. Focuses on Wiglet, Growlithe, and Swablu, and this runs until the 8th of May 2025. So this is basically the information that you kind of need to know about this. So they are all shiny boosted, so 0.5% shiny rate, which is ridiculously high. You can literally walk past an outbreak, and there's a good chance you're just going to see a shiny there regardless. But if you want to go for Wiglet, it's going to be in all areas of Paldea. If you want to go for Growlithe, it's going to be all areas of Kitakami, and if you want to go for Swablu, it's going to be all areas of the Blueberry Academy. And like I say, all shiny boosted, all really easy to get, and they're all gold shinies, which is obviously the whole point of the event. And then moving on, carrying on with this kind of gold event, we do have Gimmighoul raids back in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. HDvee update, the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet Gimmighoul Terra Raid battle event is now live, runs until the 8th of May 23:59 UTC. So the good thing about this is that Shiny Gimmighoul is back. The bad thing is it is the same standard shiny rate odds, and as well as that, it only appears in the 5-star raids. So as you can see, in the 1-star raids, the 2-star raids, the shiny rate is never, but you go all the way down to the 5th kind of Terra raid, and you can see that there's a standard shiny rate, which is just so stupid. It's like 1 in 4,000. I don't know how they expect anyone to do over 4,000 raids to try and get the shiny. It's like 1 in 4,100 or something, because the odds are actually worse than normal base odds, which makes it even more annoying. Again, it's going to be very difficult for somebody to do 4,000 raids, but from now until the 8th of May, I don't know why they expect people to do that if you get really unlucky, because you have to find a 5-star raid and then it's a 1 in 4,100. It's just absolutely stupid. If you can find a raid, then, you know, host it for other people, because you're going to be doing a lot of good if you can get shiny Gimmighoul for everyone. But anyway, that's the Scarlet and Violet stuff. And then as well as that, we have the new Masters EX event that went live today as well. So we've got HDvee here tweeting out saying, HDvee update, the next Pokemon Masters EX Arceus Arc chapter has been announced. Adds Alder, Arcsu, and Volcarona, and Benga and Volcarona into the game, and it runs from the 30th of April 2025, which is today. So those are all the new events that are now live in the various different Pokemon games. Moving on, we had a gigantic update for Nintendo today. This is a post from Game Rant saying, Nintendo Switch users now have a new system update to download that includes new features ahead of the Nintendo Switch 2's launch on the 5th of June. So this article breaks down all of the new information that you kind of need to know, all the patch notes, everything like that. It's quite a long article, but it's such a big update. They did say that we're going to be doing this by the end of April. They kind of left it to the last minute because this is the last day of April, but either way, let's take a look at all the important information you need to know about. So Nintendo Switch gets new system update for April 2025. So on April the 29th, Nintendo released a system version 20.0.0 on all Nintendo Switch consoles, which added game share and virtual game card functionality. The new Switch system update also offered 2 options for users to transfer game and system data to the Nintendo Switch 2 system, with one being an online option for those looking to trade in their Switch system. So, one of the major features of the Nintendo Switch 20.0.0 system update is the virtual game card system, which allows users to transfer digital games between Switch systems. A player with two different Nintendo Switch systems tied to their Nintendo account can eject a virtual game card from one system and then insert it into the second unit, such as from a Switch Lite to a Switch OLED. Users on the same Nintendo Shared Family plan can also lend games to other users on the same account for up to 2 weeks before they are returned to the original system they came from. Virtual game cards will also be compatible with the Nintendo Switch 2 systems. So along with the virtual game cards, Nintendo's new Switch system update made a few changes to prepare users for the Nintendo Switch 2's launch. After updating Switch systems to version 20, I'll just say 20 every time because I can't bother to keep saying 0.0, users will also have access to the Game Share function. Although Game Share can only be hosted on a Switch 2 system, the feature allows supported titles like Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics to be played on nearby Switch and Switch 2 consoles without requiring a copy of the game. Up to 3 additional Switch consoles can join a Game Share session. In this regard, Game Share is similar to DS Download Play, which was used on Nintendo DS systems, which was one of the best features ever. I loved playing Mario Kart and Nintendo DS Download Play. It was just so good, and I'm glad that they're kind of bringing that back. Additionally, Switch 2 users with access to Game Chat can share and receive content via Game Share. Game Chat will require a Nintendo Switch Online subscription following an initial trial period and will be accessible by pressing the C button on the Nintendo Switch 2 Joy-Con controller. The Switch version 20 update also changed the system transfer function to include Switch 2 transfer support, along with the traditional system transfer via local wireless communications. Switch users can also upload any game and system data to Nintendo servers before trading their system in at a retailer. This data can subsequently be downloaded onto a Nintendo Switch 2 system tied to the same Nintendo account. However, both options will factory reset the original Nintendo Switch system. It is not clear if games like Animal Crossing New Horizons will support system transfer uploads, though local transfers will still work. So these are all the patch notes. So virtual game card, purchased Nintendo Switch digital software, DLC, and some free software are now virtual game cards and displayed in a list in the menu. You can virtually load and eject virtual game cards between up to 2 Nintendo Switch systems. Virtual game cards can be lent to others in the same Nintendo account family group. And then Game Share compatible software can be shared from a Nintendo Switch 2 system to other nearby systems to play together. You can only play together via local wireless, and the Nintendo Switch 2 system must initiate Game Share. This feature cannot be used between 2 Nintendo Switch OLED model and or Nintendo Switch Lite systems. And then user verification settings have been added under user/user settings. You can restrict access to the virtual game card menu by requiring entry of a PIN or signing into your Nintendo account. And then also online license settings have been added, so when turned on, you can play downloaded software or DLC you've purchased while the system is connected to the internet, even if you don't have the virtual game card loaded. And then for more information, please refer to the details about the option of the system settings screen. The Nintendo eShop and Nintendo Switch News icon colors on the home menu have been changed, so multiple save data can be selected and transferred at once in Transfer Your Save Data menu. So this is going to be very useful, obviously, for when the Switch 2 comes out. System transfer to Nintendo Switch 2 has been added under System Settings and then System. You can perform a system transfer from your Nintendo Switch to Nintendo Switch 2 using local communication. For users that will lose access to the Nintendo Switch before receiving their Nintendo Switch 2, there is an option to upload system transfer data to a dedicated server, which can then be retrieved on the Nintendo Switch 2. After you upload your system transfer data to the dedicated server, the Nintendo Switch system will be initialized to factory settings. So only perform this transfer if you'll be able to complete the transfer on the Nintendo Switch 2. If you want to continue using your Nintendo Switch until you have a Switch 2, we recommend completing the system transfer using local communication after you have acquired a Nintendo Switch 2 system. And then an internet connection and Nintendo account is required to complete both local and the server-based systems transfer service. The appearance of some user icons have been updated as well. So that is kind of the main patch notes and everything that you kind of need to know about that Nintendo Switch Online update. Moving on, we have a bit more of a breakdown about it from Stealth and also Oatmeal Dome data miners and kind of like known users in the space that kind of talk about Nintendo Switch and everything. So Nintendo released Switch Update 20. It's a big one. So virtual game cards, game share, user verification settings, online license settings, multiple save data transfer, system transfer to Nintendo Switch 2 has been added under system settings to system plus more. And then Oatmeal Dome speaks about this a little bit more, saying system transfers will transfer all of your save data, including save data for games that don't support NSO cloud backup. So games like Pokémon, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and Splatoon 2, etc. So just thought I would make a note of this since it seems to be a common question. So if you're selling or trading in your Switch 1, Nintendo will allow you to temporarily upload all your data to their servers for data download when you receive your Switch 2. So there's multiple ways to do this. You can obviously do it locally, which is just have your Switch 1 and your Switch 2, transfer it all, and then you're done. If you're obviously trading your Switch 1 in, then probably like the day before the Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, you would upload it all, and then it will factory reset your Nintendo Switch, and then you'll take that into wherever you're trading in, get the Nintendo Switch 2, bring it home, and then download all of that data onto your Nintendo Switch 2 system. So there's two ways of doing it, but obviously if you don't want to factory reset your Switch 1, then just do it locally. But anyway, those are all the Nintendo updates that went live today. Some big updates, getting ready for the Nintendo Switch 2. Very, very excited. Finishing things off for today's video, we have more updates regarding these Generation 10 leaks that have popped up. This was a post by Course Amolga saying #Gaia. Here is a recap of what Moots said around the gimmick for Generation 10 and all the potential Pokemon said so far that could be getting forms. This info supposedly comes from a 4-hour investors meeting that took place after the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct. So a lot of stuff from this we've already covered, but a lot of this is also new information as well. It kind of gives you more of an insight into what Pokemon are basically going to be getting forms and what people think might be getting forms and stuff like that. So group of 8. So these are all confirmed apparently. Again, things could change. I mean, Moot could obviously just be wrong as well, but things could change by the time this game comes out. But these 8 are apparently going to be in Generation 10. So we're going to have Nidoking and Nidoqueen getting brand new forms. We're also going to be getting A10, which is Monkey Source. It said had multiple forms, and then they showed 2 Apostle designs. So there's some sort of monkey kind of getting new forms, which is apparently going to be a Generation 10 Pokemon. G3 and G4 confirmed to be Gardevoir and Gallade. So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pokemon there that are going to be getting this new sort of form. And then these haven't been confirmed because it has to have this little star next to it for it to be confirmed. But basically it's Venusaur, so group of 41 that have been proposed. So this is the 21 out of the 41. So Venusaur getting a new form, Charizard getting a new form, Blastoise getting a new form, Rillaboom, Cinderace, Inteleon, Incineroar, Plusle and Minun, Fione and Manaphy, Regirock, Regice and Registeel, Ceruledge and Armarouge, Kingdra and Tyranitar, and then Blacephalon have suggested all Ultra Beasts, only specifically named this one. So those are all confirmed to be getting, well, those are the confirmed proposed ones. So again, they're not going to go with all 41 forms, but these have been proposed, like these have been confirmed as propositions to be getting a form. And then we've got Lucario, Luxray, Lopunny, Lickilicky, Leafeon, Luminion. One of those could be getting one. And then also either Talonflame, Tyrantrum, or Trevenant. So those are all the kind of confirmed and likely to be getting ones there. And then it also says 120 new Pokemon plus regional forms, 32 Pokemon plan to receive these, this like Apostle TBD gimmick, and then 70 are in their final stages of development. So 70 of these 120, 150 odd Pokemon in their final stages. And then this is the group of 24, which is being considered or worked on. So again, this is kind of confirmed, but also not. But either way, it says K5. So Keldeo, confirmed as an idea, not necessarily confirmed in Gaia. Then we have Klefki, we have Wobbuffet, we have Flygon, and then we also have Sirfetch'd as well. So those are all been confirmed, and then these are, you know, what it could be. So T9 could obviously be Tinkaton, Terrapagos, Tatsugiri, and Toedscool. The only reason that these don't have a star is because we don't know what it's one of these, we just don't know which one it is. And then we've got B5, so that could be Buffalon, Braviary, Bisharp, Behem, and Beartic. A6 could be Aegislash, Aurorus, Aromatisse, or Avalugg. I'd assume it'd be Aegislash, but obviously we don't know. M7 could be Mimikyu, Minior, Mudsdale, Melmetal, Magearna, or Marshadow. And then from M5 we could have Musharna, Mienshao, Maractus, Mandibuzz, Meloetta. B4 could be Bibarel, Bastiodon, or Bronzong. D1 could be Dugtrio, Dragonite, Ditto, or Dugong. P1 could be Parasect, Pidgeot, Persian, or Pinsir. And then R1 could be Raichu, Raticate, Rapidash. I'd assume that would be Raichu there, though. I think that could also be Rhydon as well. I don't know why they haven't said Rhydon there. But anyway, Divine Sigil, so items connected to Martians. An Apostle who prays to this item receives its blessing, gaining a new form, change, and stat buff. So that's kind of the gimmick, so that these Pokemon, quote-unquote, pray, and then they get a new form change, and also they get stat buffs as well. And then Margin are the gods themselves. So confirmed god name is Diabolos, which is the leader. We're given as examples. So Poseidon is a co-founder slash leader, and also Hades co-founder and leader. Obviously, this is based on Greek kind of myths, gods, stuff like that. So a lot of it is going to take inspiration from that, which is really cool because there's so many cool kind of stories from like Greek gods and everything like that. And then vessels, particularly powerful Pokemon possessed by the Margin, can shape islands into their image. So number 1 is D, which could be Deoxys, Dialga, Darkrai, or Diancie. I'd assume that would probably be Dialga, just because that has, you know, space and time and everything, but it could be any. And then 2 is Poseidon, which is a Vestal, and 3 is Hades, which is a Vestal as well. So again, this is all everything that basically Moot has said. So until they say more information, this is kind of like a big overview of everything. More in-depth information and stuff about what's been confirmed, what hasn't. Of course, Moot could just be wrong. You know, there's no guarantee that everything that they are saying is true. But if what they are saying is true, then this is crazy, because all of this is getting leaked already, and the game's not out until next November, most likely. Like Legends ZA is not even out yet. This Terra leak has really affected Pokemon, and they might change a lot of things for Gen 10 because of that. They know that these leaks are out there. They know that obviously people know about them, so they might change a lot of it because it's not coming out till next November. It's very easy for them to change these forms and go with a different kind of roster of Pokemon, but we'll have to wait and see. But either way, those are all of the Gen 10 leak updates, or potential leak updates, should I say. And also, let me know your thoughts on these Nintendo Switch 2 updates, the Nintendo update, everything like that. And then also all of the events as well. But yeah, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like. Let's try and hit 500. Like I say, leave a comment. Subscribe if you're brand new. Ring the notification bell for daily Pokemon content. Have a fantastic rest of your day. And until next time, peace.